Hello friends, my name is Ramasu. Today we shall discuss about the topic the characteristics of a sprint. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in sprint and the Scrum methodology and you want to learn about project management. So this is a very interesting and important topic for you. So let's just start, friend. First of all, I will request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well, so that my new videos can reach to you, and also you can follow me on the Facebook page as well. Friend, in agile product development, a sprint is a set of period of time during which specific work has to be completed and made ready for review. Each sprint begins with a planning meeting. During the meeting, the product owner, the person requesting the work, and the development team agree upon exactly what work will be accomplished during the sprint. The development team has the final say when it comes to determining how much work can realistically be accomplished during the sprint, and the product owner has the final say on what criteria need to be met for the work to be approved and accepted. The duration of a sprint is determined by the Scrum Master, the team's facilitator and manager of the Scrum framework. Once the team reaches a consensus for how much days a sprint should last, all future sprints should be the same. Traditionally, a sprint lasts approximately 30 days. So now what are the characteristics? First one is the time boxed. Time boxing simply means to limit the maximum time as activity can take. It's the core concept of a Scrum model. Therefore, all the events that Scrum prescribes are time boxed. Time boxing of sprints also take place and they have fixed start and end dates. Typically, a sprint duration is 1, 2, 3 or 4 weeks, and this varies from organization to organization. Within this time box, the Scrum team has to finish the agreed set of work. Now, what is the requirement of time boxing? Can we have a 3-month sprint like in traditional project management? If no, then why? Let's understand some of the advantages of sprint time boxing. It establishes a work in progress limit. A work in progress task is the one which started but didn't finish. In traditional project management, there was a big laundry list of such work items that have been pending for months. Failing to manage these work in progress tasks can have severe consequences for budget, quality, and timelines. As time boxing of sprints happen, these work in progress tasks cannot go beyond their duration. The team will pick only the work that they are confident of finishing within the sprint. Forces prioritization. As a Scrum is iterative, we get to choose what work needs to accomplish every sprint. It will occur every 1 to 4 weeks. Depending on a sprint duration, it results in the Scrum team to prioritize their work. As a result, the most important functionalities are the first to be picked. Demonstrates progress. In traditional project management, the progress was measured but couldn't demonstrate often. A development phase would run for 3 to 4 months and actual progress would only show at the end of the development phase. However, Scrum allows showing the work finished at each sprint. The Scrum team needs to demo the work done to the product owner, and he needs to accept the deliverable before the sprint closes successfully. It also helps in getting quicker feedback and early detection of any issues. Avoid gold plating of work. Now, what is gold plating? It means intentionally adding extra features that were not part of the original scope. It often pleases the clients, but this sounds like a good thing to do. Predictable outcomes. A time boxed sprint improves predictability. It's easier to predict what will happen in the next 1 to 4 weeks as compared to something which happens 6 months down the line. It's easier to say that we will complete login and registration functionality in sprint 1, cart functionality in sprint 2. Now compare this by saying that we will complete the e-commerce website in the next 6 months. Motivate closure. A time box sprint with a defined end date motivates the Scrum team to complete the work. Imagine that the team is working on login functionality and they run into issues. In Scrum, they will make all the efforts to close out the issue. However, in traditional project management, it's easier to move on to other functionality. It results in several tasks that remain work in progress. Short duration. We know that sprints time box, but even a 3-month time box can exist. So why does Scrum prescribes that a sprint should not be more than a calendar month? So what are the reasons? First one is the easy planning. Imagine that you are doing a project where you have to create a new e-commerce website in 6 months. If you need to plan for this entire 6 months, it is going to be pretty tricky. So you need to know all the dependencies, third-party schedules. However, if you just need to plan for the next 1 to 4 weeks, it's easier. Quicker feedback. Each sprint creates a potentially releasable increment of the product. It means that the product owners and stakeholders have the opportunity to provide feedback within 1 to 4 weeks. Therefore, if anything is going wrong and needs a course correction, it can be taken up quickly. Compare this with traditional project management, where business users would usually look at the application during the UAT phase. Naturally, by this time, we are already too late to do any course of correction. Better return on investment. We know that each sprint would release a potentially releasable increment of the project. So it means that we have an opportunity to release a feature much early as compared to traditional cycles where we had to wait for the entire project to finish. It helps to get the benefit of new work as soon as it finishes. Capping of errors. Imagine that you are developing an e-commerce website and after 6 months of work, the product rejection happens in user acceptance testing. So how long will that take to course correct? It will put a lot of stress, pressure on the team to make it work. Now compare this with a sprint. Even if everything goes wrong, it's worth only 1 to 4 weeks of effort. It is still easier to correct and get the project back on track. Frequent checkpoints. As sprints are time boxed, the work needs to complete in 1 to 4 weeks duration. As such, the team needs to have numerous checkpoints to gauge the work progress. There is a daily scrum meeting within the team. There are checkpoints at the end of the sprint, where the reviewing of work and identification of improvement opportunities takes place. Consistent duration. Consistent duration is another crucial characteristic of a sprint. It means that if you have a 1 week sprint, then all the sprint in the project will be of 1 week. So why do we do that? First one, rhythm and consistency. If the sprints are of the same duration, then it's easier for the project team to get into a rhythm. They get used to the cadence. The usual story points are similar in each of the sprint, so the level of effort is consistent. Ease of planning. A consistent duration sprint will have similar story points, amount of work, which makes it easier for the Scrum team to plan out the work. Imagine if a sprint 1 is of 4 weeks duration, but a sprint 2 is for 1 week. If there is any slip over from sprint 1, then it might not fit in sprint 2 at all. It will make the life of Scrum Master difficult. A fixed duration also helps in quickly coming out with the number of sprints, assuming assuming there is a fixed release date. In the case of variable duration, a lot of effort will be needed upfront to figure out the number of sprints and the logic behind it. No goal altering changes. One of the key characteristics that make a Scrum so successful is the concept of no goal altering changes. Before we start the sprint, we define the goals for it. The goals are in the form of a product increment that potentially releases to production. If you are making an e-commerce website, the goal could be to create login and registration functionalities which will allow users to register a new account and log in using that account. Once the sprint starts, it's not allowed to make changes which can result in the sprint not accomplishing its goals. It helps the team to focus on the work without any distractions from changes. So that means we cannot make any changes. Well, Scrum encourages closely working with the product owner and taking regular feedback. It could result in some suggestions and improvements. Minor feedbacks that does not impact the sprint goal can be incorporated. Okay, however, anything significant cannot include. So friend, thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it with the friends and colleagues, and thanks a lot for watching the video. Thank you.